Hey, welcome back to Eepa's Kitchen. Today we're going to be working on this 15-pound full packer brisket. We're going to hang it in the pit barrel, get a nice smoke on it, and we're going to have a great day with this. So why don't you come on in, we'll take a look. First thing we're going to do is we're going to trim all this fat off. Most of the fat will not render in the pit barrel because of the temps, but we're going to take off a majority of it. We'll get it seasoned up. We'll get some hooks in it. We'll get it hung. All right. All right. So we're just going to slowly start trimming this off a little bit at a time. One of the things I like to do when we're working on something of this size, it's easier for cleanup, you might be able to see it, is take some plastic wrap, kind of cover the counter up. That way when you're going to finish up, it's not a big mess for you to clean. You peel that plastic off there, wrap it up, saves you a lot of time. We're going to leave a little fat on in places, because that will render and add a little flavor, but the majority of this has to come off. I'm going to take a little of this off here. And then there's a little bit of a wedge here, if you can see it. I'm going to take that out. Let's see, you get a little bit of that silver skin, that silver meat in there. Real stringy, tough to eat. You want to make sure you get that out. The majority of that off. A little bit here. We're going to clean up the edges just a little bit where you get some more of that silver gray skin. I like to just take and just do a nice slice there. I'm going to get a little bigger knife for that. You're going to kind of come along here. Clean that off. Over. We'll get that little hunk of meat off there, that fat off of there. And remember, this doesn't have to be perfect. You're just trying to take off the bulk of the fat. A certain amount will come off in the cooking process. You're not going to get every little piece of that gray meat, silver skin off of there. Don't stress about it. Have fun. Enjoy your food. Enjoy the time cooking. Unfortunately, this one's an early morning cook, so there's no family out running around having a good time. But they'll be here later. This is about a 6 to 8 hour process. Most times, if you're going to smoke a brisket in an actual smoker, it's an all-day deal. You're talking 12, 14, 18 hours. This is about an 8 hour process. So that pit barrel really cuts down the time. And I think we're looking good. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of this mess on the board. We'll get this seasoned up and get it hung. All right, so we got it all trimmed. We're ready to go ahead and season it. Real simple. We're going to pour some olive oil over it, rub it in. Put your favorite rub on it. I got this one. It's a coffee rub. Traeger makes it. You can use whatever you want. There's all kinds of them out there. This one I've used before. I really like the flavor. So you go ahead and be the, your own judge on that, what you're going to use. But So you can kind of be liberal with the olive oil. Just give it a good coating. We'll do a little bit on each side. It's going to help it adhere real well and make everything a mess. And if you're not making a mess when you're putting your dry rub on, you're not doing it right. The olive oil used doesn't have to be your highest quality. I use an extra virgin. This is more of my everyday olive oil. Over here at Eepa's, we have multiple levels of olive oil, stuff that we're just using, in recipes like this, and then other ones where we're dipping. We use a little bit more of a high quality. Flavor profile is a little different. But again, your call on what you're going to spend on your olive oil. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to hook it. We're going to do 2 hooks because of the size and the weight, so it doesn't tear. You're probably okay with 1, but in my experience, you don't want to open up the lid and find it laying in the bottom. So we're going to go and do 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of measure this off so we've got enough room to hang the hook on the rebar. So we're just going to kind of mark a spot, figure out where we're at. That looks about right there. We're going to go ahead and shove it through. We're good there. And then what we're going to do and double hook it is we're going to hook this over the tip of the other one and shove that through. And that's just going to allow us a little bit more support as it's hanging. And there you go. Just like that. All right. We're going to go ahead and transfer it out. And we're going to run it outside and give it a hook. So bear with me. All seasoned up, ready to go. Okay, so the coals are nice and hot. We're going to go ahead and add them in. Get this rolling here. We're going to go ahead and add the rebar in for ventilation and allow us to hook the brisket. I'm going to bring it out. These help control heat as well as hanging the meat. Go ahead and put the lid on, keep that nice and hot. All right, so we're out here by the barrel. Things are processing nicely inside. Coals are hot and smoky. It's what we want. People ask what kind of charcoal you use. There's a whole lot of talk on there about people using specialty coals and everything. I'm a Kingsford guy. Works for me. All right, so we're going to run this in here for probably 4 hours. Just really kind of depends. We want it to get to about 160 to 170 degrees. So I'm using this thermometer. You can just do an instant read if you want. Just come out here and check it from time to time. I like leaving the lid on because it kind of leaves the heat and the smoke just to keep rolling without being interrupted. So this plugs in, and then we have a remote that you can keep inside or wear on your belt, what have you. It kind of tracks everything. So we'll plug it in. Turn it on. Pop the lid back on. Let the magic start. So we're sitting at 29 degrees right now. And then we'll just watch that go up through the next few hours. After we get it to 160, 170, we're going to go ahead and pull it. We're going to wrap it, double wrap it in foil, pour some beef broth in there. You can use beer, you can use beef broth, you can use water, any kind of liquid that you really want. I like the beef broth because it adds a lot of moisture and flavor. We're going to wrap it up, double wrap it nice and tight. We're going to install the grate, which I just knocked down. We're going to install the grate back in there, and we're going to pop it back on top of that, run it for another couple hours. Doesn't want to stay. We're going to run it for a couple more hours till it gets to about 200 degrees. That's where we're going to pull it off, wrap it in a beach towel, put it in a cooler, let it sit for about an hour, and then you've got deliciousness. So we'll see you back in a couple hours. All right, so we got up to 160. We're going to go ahead and pull it, wrap it, and get it back going. Oh, tell me that doesn't look delicious right now. Look at that bad boy. All right. Over here on foil, I'm going to go ahead and pull the hooks out. And we'll run it inside and we'll put a little broth on it. And then once we get the broth on it, we'll get a nice wrap, real nice tight wrap on it. We'll put the grate in and we'll get it back on there for a couple hours till we get to about 200 degrees. All right, so we're back in the kitchen. We've got our brisket sitting in the foil here. We're going to pull up the sides a little bit. I've got about a half a cup of beef broth. Again, like I said earlier, you can use beer, you use water, pretty much anything you want. I've heard people use different juices. I like the flavor of the beef broth. It adds a lot of flavor, and as it sits in there, makes it really nice and moist. Pour that over, and then we're going to wrap this as tight as we can, double. Try not to pierce any holes in it because we want to seal in all that heat, all that steam, and all that flavor. So I use a heavy duty foil. And we're going to flip it. And we're going to do the same thing again, just give it a nice tight wrap. Don't be afraid to skimp on the foil. All right, nice and tight, all sealed up. And we're going to put this back out on the grate. We'll put the grate in a sec. And we're going to put it with this wrap side, the sealed side, this side down, okay? We're going to keep that so it's nice and tight, all right? All right, so we're going to go ahead and put it back in. First thing we got to do is we're going to go ahead and take the rebar out. And we're going to put in our grate. It just sits down in here. There's some little pegs in here. That's on. Go ahead and put our brisket back in. Remember we talked about keeping that sealed side down. So that'll go right in. And it's real important at this point, put those rebar back in. Again, that helps regulate the airflow, maintain the temperature. You don't want to leave those open because there's too much air in there. It's going to burn your coals out fast. All right. Put the top back on. And at this point, I'm not going to use the thermometer that we had in before. I'm going to use an instant read. We'll check in about an hour and a half just to see where we're at. We'll go from there. I just don't want to pierce that hole right now. I want to keep everything nice and tight. So we'll be back in a couple hours. So this is just the internal temp of the barrel right now. Just want to make sure that we're going to be hot enough to reach our temperature. We get around 250, we should be good. All right. All right, we're back. We hit our 200 degree. I got my little mini Insta-Read thermometer here. I get a look. There we go. Yeah, a little over 200, so we're good to go. We're going to pull that out. We're going to go ahead and pull that rebar out so we can get to our brisket. There we go. All right. And now all we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up in a towel. Let me pull that out. Keep it nice, sealed up. We're going to put it in the cooler. Minimally, you want to go ahead and keep this in the cooler for about an hour, but you can go up to 6, really. The longer, as long as you give it at least an hour in there, you get a lot more moisture. It's really gonna give you a lot more flavor, better experience all the way around. So we're gonna go ahead and close this up. We'll come back in about an hour or two. We'll unveil it, we'll slice it, we'll get a couple taste tests, and we'll go on from there. All right, so we let it rest for a couple hours. It's all unwrapped and ready to go. We're going to give it some slicing, and we're going to dig in and eat. So what we're going to do is just kind of cut across the grain. What we're looking for is this nice pink bark around the outside. See that there? Nice and juicy off the bone. Good double taste. Oh, hell yeah. Dinner is served. All right, so we got the whole family together. Neighbors are over. This is what Eepa's Kitchen is all about. Everybody's coming in, having a meal, having a good time. We talked about it's about food, it's about family, it's about fun. So everything turned out great. Our neighbors brought over some excellent potato salad, cornbread's out of this world, baked beans, broccoli salad, complimented us with some homemade barbecue sauce. And to top it off, a little bit of Plantation XO rum goes great with the brisket. So from Eepa's Kitchen, signing off. We'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by.